Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so this is part two of the theory of FDI lecture. In the first part, we talked about the theory of FDI, why it is required, what is its benefit, and what it is trying to explain. Okay, and we talked about the first point, which is firms as seekers. So in this one, we'll talk about the other two, which is firms as exploiters of imperfection and firms as internalizers, and we'll go into more detail into this. Okay. So firms as exploiters of imperfection, if you look at it, first of all, we need to understand what an imperfection is. An imperfection in an economy, an imperfection that exists in an economy. Um, Now, obviously, we're talking about from an economic point of view here, okay, and we are not talking about physical or any social or anything. We are talking about from the economic point of view that there is some imperfection that exists in that economy, and a company might go in there to exploit. Okay, now the word exploit obviously in general sense is negative, but when we talk about it in economic sense, then it is considered positive that you want to take advantage or you want to create a benefit of that imperfection, okay, that exists in that economy. Okay, now imperfection could be in three ways, okay, or it could be in three points that according to this particular theory. An imperfection could exist in the form of access, it could exist in the form of factor mobility, or it could exist in the form of management. Okay, first of all, we have access. Okay, let's say there is something, there is a you have a country, okay, and it has let's say some mineral resources available, but the problem is that there is no access. Okay, it's in a remote area where you do not have any roads, and getting to that place is a very difficult situation for you to go. Okay, so basically the access is not available. Or maybe something like, maybe for example, let's say we have a resource like methane. Like if you know about Japan, Japan has discovered, if they don't have oil, they don't have any other resource, but what has been discovered in the last years has been methane. They have a lot of deposits of methane under the sea and along their coastlines. So but the problem is, okay, it's a good resource. You can theoretically you can utilize it and probably solve Japan's import problems in terms of oil, but and generate a lot of electricity, even maybe export it. But the problem is there is there any access available? No, there is no access. Okay, they know it is there, but they can't access it, they can't use it. Why? Because stable technologies for using this, because if you know about it, I mean, even if you know a little bit about um, oil drilling, exploration, and then maintaining the oil wells. Okay, it's all about pressure. Okay, the more pressure it is, the difficult it is, well, the more you will get out of it. The problem is, but maintaining that pressures, our technologies at this point in time can handle a certain amount of pressure, okay, and a certain amount of volatility. More than that, if you have a higher pressure of oil or gas, that is there, so we won't be able to handle it. If you remember the disasters that happened in the Gulf of Mexico, quite some in probably it was 2011 or 12, if I'm not wrong, or 2010. Well, at that when the that happened, that obviously was an issue of pressure and deep drilling and all of that. So again, but the problem is methane is very very corrosive. It is very very volatile, and uh, to to make a well, or we we are research is going on. Definitely they are coming up with things, but at this point in time still they haven't been able to do it. Okay, so the access is not available. Okay, similarly, as I was talking before, in a country there might be a very very difficult terrain. Okay, you might have good mineral resources available, but the terrain is difficult, and you have to create a lot of infrastructure to actually get there. Okay, so that is the problem of access. Okay, for then we have factor mobility. Okay, let's say even if you have access available, okay, let's say even if you have access available, but can access give you anything? Let's say you build a road to that place. Okay, um, okay, now the road is built there, fine, but then what will happen? Okay, who is going to, how is the machinery going to reach there? Okay, you have a road, the machinery gets there, but then will the machinery operate itself? Okay, we still are a little away from the realm of robotics and drones and everything, that everything can be done through robots. It's a little difficult to do that at this point in time. But if you look at it, then in order to utilize that, you require factors. What are the factors again? Are factors of production. Again, what were our factors of production? Okay, we have natural resources, labor, capital, entrepreneur, and information. Okay, so when we talk about that, uh, then in terms of factor mobility, you would have to look at would have to get labor to that place, right? Okay, you'd like to have capital, okay, availability of capital at that place, okay, because this is how a firm would operate. These are the basic inputs that are required. So if you are not able to get labor, if you're not able to get capital, if you're not able to create and innovate in solving the problems there, okay, and if you do not have access to information, okay, then obviously you cannot have an operation. So factor, so maybe access is available but factor mobility is not there. Okay, so so that could be an imperfection that exists. Okay, then the third one is that you have access available, you have factor mobility available, okay, but there is there is lack of um, intellectual organization, okay, of how an organization would be set up, how an organization would be created, okay, in order to take advantage of that resource, okay, uh, or to take advantage of the access and the factors that are available, but you do not have the ability to manage. No management infrastructure is available. Okay, let's see if we go back to the example of Japan. Okay, maybe they're able to have they develop a technology, a very high pressure resistant materials, okay, that they can put it on those methane wells under the sea. Okay, so they're able to get there, but the problem is then how are they going to take it out? Okay, even if they know how to take it out, then how would they actually, what would be the what how would the operation structure be there? Should they install a pipeline? Okay, then how would that pipeline be managed? How would that rig that they create there will be managed? Okay, what would be the SOPs there? What should be the work structure there? Okay, how many workers are required? What would be the jobs of those workers? Okay, then what would be how many supervisors would you require? Okay, what would be the jobs of the supervisors, then managers, then how would the whole operation be managed? Okay, then this is the idea of whole the management structure or infrastructure, okay, that would be required. Okay, because if a new thing comes up, obviously you have to set up efficient management structures. You have to create these efficient management structures. That skill might not be there, or that intellectual input might not be there. Okay, so a company can go in and utilize that and exploit this imperfection that might exist in that economy. Okay, for example, let's say you have a country that has a lot of rivers, okay, but the problem is they don't know how to construct a dam. Okay, they have access, water is flowing, the river is going on. Okay, they have like they have fact, they have labor available, they have capital available. Okay, but they don't they have a little bit of information but they don't know how to set it up. Okay, so you might have a company that might be expert in constructing dams, that might go in there and build a dam for them. Okay, this might be a river flow dam, it could be a gorge based dam, okay, whatever. But if this would be the management ability, the management ability or the management intellectual input that the company would utilize and go and set up and take advantage of. Okay, so this is what we have for this particular for the expertise of imperfection. Next one is internalizers, and I've talked about it in a couple of lectures before, that the concept of internalization is that already there is an advantage that exists. Okay, already there is an advantage or a firm specific advantage that exists, and a company wants to uh, keep that advantage to itself, okay, and maintain its competitive advantage over its competitors. Okay, for example, let's say again, going to the point of your factors of protection, let's talk about um, the concept of entrepreneurship. When we talk about entrepreneurship, we're talking about skill, we're talking about innovation and creativity. Okay, so let's say if you have a if an animations company, okay, company that creates animations, creates these animated movies, cartoons, things like that. Um, Now, obviously, they require artistic skill sets that are there. So now they find out that there is one particular country where people are are now have gained those skills, or naturally have more creative ability in terms of creating animations. Okay, so and obviously they are not well known at this point in time, and they're not so let's because now this advantage is becoming available there, and we have this firm specific advantage in terms of good artistic work or good creative people that are there. So let's go and be there in that country. Okay, so the case of if you look at the case of Samsung in South Korea, that is exactly the same. Okay, why are Apple and Huawei present there in South Korea? Their research centers are actually placed there in South Korea, and so in South Korea. Why? Because there is a whole knowledge skill set that is available, and because these companies are known for their innovation creativity, so they go there and they have now skilled people available, knowledge. Uh, artistic skill sets available for them to go and design their products there in South Korea. Similarly, maybe in terms of animation, you might take an example of Turkey, that more obviously in the last decade probably Turkey has come up a little bit, and more their creative industry, like their arts and films and all of that, have become have that skill has developed, and they have a lot of creativity that is there. So in the artistic sense, so a company might, like a Hollywood studio, might want to go there and place their open up a studio there. Okay, so that they can get advantage of that labor as well as skill as well as the information that is available, and they would want to maintain their dominance in this regard. Okay, so this is the concept of internalization. Now another thing, just before ending this, another thing that we need to be clear about is that when we talk about let's go back to that particular slide. Okay, yes. When we talk about seekers of advantage, seekers of advantage is the advantage is known and it is available. The advantage is known and it is available, and there are already some companies, maybe local, maybe foreign, that are present there in that particular country or in that particular area, and they are utilizing that advantage. So the advantage has to be known and available. When you talk about exploiters of imperfection, the advantage may be known, but it may not be available. Okay, or basic case would be that the advantage is neither known nor is it available. Okay, for example, okay, nobody knows that in this particular country there are huge mineral reserves of a particular mineral that exist. Okay, but company, well, is exploring. They do an exploration and they find it out. So obviously the advantage was not known, but now it is known. Okay, and it is so now it is known, but it may not be available, so the company would invest in order to make that advantage available. Okay, so um, another best example of this, if you want about it, you need to study the case of De Beers. Okay, how they literally have created South Africa, and they're still the leading diamond company in the world, and they have been in operation since the 1800s. Okay, and they've literally created these countries, like developed these countries like South Africa, like Zimbabwe, all the diamond areas of the world, if you the core diamond areas of the world, especially in Africa. So this is a very interesting study if you want to really understand the concept of seekers as well as exploiters of imperfection. Okay, so explore this company. Right, now thank you very much, have a nice day.